What's going on, everyone? Jeff back with another video. What I want to talk about today is Eastman Kodak, probably the most exciting stock story of the week. At one point, this stock seen 2,500% gain in just a matter of 2 days. This is essentially a company that come from $2 a share up to over now $21.19. So roughly netting a $19 gain over the past week. And we had such a big week in the stock market, okay? We had Apple, Amazon, Google, and Facebook all sitting before Congress. Then 1 day later, all four of those companies reported earnings at close. We had such a huge, probably the biggest week, and probably from an earnings perspective, probably the biggest week of the year. And so this Kodak story got a lot of momentum on just basically a lot of people being interested in the stock market. Let me just give you a very brief summary of what happened with Kodak stock last week. On Monday, okay, the 27th of July, just a couple days ago, Kodak was trading at $2.21, seeing pretty much flat movement, little bit of an increase, about a 10% increase that day, but nothing really amazing happened until Tuesday. The stock jumped roughly $9 per share, traded itself back down, and then Wednesday was by far the biggest day of action, trading itself all the way up to a high of $60 per share at one point, and now since that time has sold itself back off. You know, you have to understand too how cheap put options get when a stock spikes up really high like that. Put options get cheap really extremely fast. If you have limit orders set, they can fill really quickly. And now you're starting to see this trend reverse. But it did hold its level pretty good through Wednesday. Here on Thursday, it opened around $41 a share and closed around $23. And then on Friday, opened around $23 a share. And at the end of the week, we're sitting at $21.19. What I want to talk about in this video, guys, I want to do a little bit of background on Kodak, kind of explore their past and their potential future, and then I want to talk about why this happened, why the stock shot up almost 2,500% at one point, and then at the end of the video I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on is this stock a buy here at these levels. So before we get started, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video. I appreciate all the support, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Alright, so first thing, let's cover a brief history of the Eastman Kodak company, okay? This company was actually founded in the 1800s and held a very dominant position in photographic films for nearly a century, and actually a little bit longer than a century. A lot of their advertising they had back in the 90s was always coined as a Kodak moment, okay? When you'd use your Kodak camera to take a picture and create a moment. They developed their first digital camera in 1976, which, as most of you know, digital cameras really did not become affordable until the 90s. But that was a huge step. They've made a lot of advancements in the photographic industry. But being this channel is about the stock market, it's most important to focus on the fact that they started to struggle financially in the late 1990s as a part of a decline in sales of photographic film and its slowness in transitioning to digital photography. Despite developing the first contained digital camera, I think maybe from a business standpoint, that is what Kodak is most famous for, is that they actually developed the first digital camera, but they were so slow to transitioning to it. Now, in January 2012, Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, and then it shortly thereafter announced it would stop making digital cameras. So as you can imagine, the stock tanked, the whole entire business tanked. They had to delist from the stock market. And then in August 2012, Kodak announced its intention to sell its photographic films as a measure to emerge from bankruptcy. It sold many of its patents for an approximate $525 million to a large group of companies we're probably all invested in: Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Samsung, Adobe, and HTC. Then on September 3rd, 2013, the company actually emerged from bankruptcy, having shed its large legal liabilities and exited several businesses. And now, finally, to put this whole puzzle together, they announced on November 1st, 2013 that it will list its common shares on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol KODK. That is what it's currently trading under. At that time, they came back to the stock market completely rebranded and refocused on imaging for businesses. Now, however, if we take a look at the stock performance, when they re-enlisted back onto the stock market, you can see it's pretty much been all downhill from the time they re-enlisted on the exchange. It did see a high of roughly $35 per share, but it's pretty much through bad earnings and lack of growth, and also competitors flying by them. I say another thing that really hurt this company is the huge growth of smartphones. Obviously, everybody having a smartphone and cameras in their pocket has been tumultuous for this company, and their inability to adjust, has certainly not treated the company well. As early as last week, this company had a $100 million market cap, and anybody that's involved with the stock market knows that is very, very small company. It was headed for the pennies until this big move last week. Let's talk about what set this stock running last week now. So feel free to go over here and visit the Kodak website. That's where I'm at right now. And this is the announcement of Kodak Pharmaceuticals. The headline reads, Kodak announces creation of new business unit, and the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation will sign a letter of interest to provide a $765 million loan to support the launch of the new entity. Let's read a little more about that. The new business unit will produce critical pharmaceutical components that have been identified as essential but have lapsed into chronic national shortage. In my opinion, right now, they're taking a worldwide situation and trying to spin it to create more business for themselves. I do not know how successful this is going to be. From a business or a company standpoint, it's a big opportunity to reinvent themselves, but I feel if you are an investor, all the risk is really in the investor's hands. They're not a proven pharmaceutical company yet. The LOI signed today during an event at the Kodak Center in Rochester, attended by Kodak management, senior government officials, indicates Kodak's successful completion of the DFC's initial screening will be followed by a standard due diligence conducted by the agency before financing is formally committed. So within that statement, it is not officially a done deal. It is just a letter of intent, but the financing has not been completed. So that's another thing too I think should really contribute to if you're going to invest into this company. Now, once fully operational, Kodak Pharmaceuticals will have the capacity at Eastman Business Park to produce up to 25% of active pharmaceutical ingredients in non-biological, non-antibacterial, generic pharmaceuticals, while supporting 360 direct jobs and an additional 1,200 indirectly. So this is a big boost for the economy during a difficult time. And the real push here is a readying production of ingredients for generic drugs, but mostly includes the anti-malarial drug hydroxychloroquine that President Trump has plugged as a treatment for COVID-19. So there is a potential for a very big return if this is successful, if they can develop and produce this at a high level. So it's kind of a very high risk, high reward situation in my opinion. Still a little bit too risky for me though. The loan, which comes from the U.S. International Development Finance Corp, a government agency similar to a bank, is the first of its kind under the DPA. So again, a lot of risk involved there. And the loan, which is very similar to a commercial loan, must be repaid over 25 years. So again, keep in mind, this is not just a big chunk of money being dropped in their lap. They do have to pay it back. As we all know, Kodak has done nothing really but struggle over the past 7 years financially. And it even sounds from a government standpoint like it's very risky on their end, because Kodak is very unproven in the pharmaceutical industry. The company will make starter materials and active pharmaceutical ingredients used to make generic drugs. And I guess another little tidbit I do want to drop in this video was that Kodak director George Carfunkel purchased more than $11 million of the stock with an average price of $2.50. This actually took place back in December. I think he would be smart to sell after the 2,500% increase. Haven't heard any more about this, if he sold any shares or anything like that, but he bought up 4,437,605 shares back on December 5th. Now the last part of this video, guys, I'm going to go through a couple of fundamentals. I'm going to tell you where I stand with this company, if I plan to invest in it. And I guess if you want a quick answer, no, I am not going to be buying any Kodak stock right now. But this is a very, very interesting storyline, and I do plan to track this stock on the daily, and I'll make more videos about it in the future as this story develops. It definitely has my attention, and I will be watching this closely. However, I just can't invest in a company that is this fundamentally unsound. It's like at a negative 119% return on equity. This company is not making money on earnings. And if you want to look at this from a realistic point of view, all they're really doing is losing money quarter after quarter. And right here, this negative 8% quarterly revenue growth, obviously that totally contributes to the decline in the stock price. And the short sellers love Kodak, okay? Their short percent of float is roughly 14.12%. Now, the shorts probably got burnt today. However, like I did mention at the start of the video, with that big surge in stock price, you can catch put options very, very cheap. You know, I do think there is a certain amount of value on being short on this stock. Now, I will mention this. I tried to go short on Kodak last week, and there was not any shares available to short. And there's actually a developing story on that right now, but I'm not going to add that in this video just simply because it seems very uncertain as to what's going on. I know some brokers probably do have short shares available, but the couple of brokers I checked, there was no shares available. However, you can still play put options if you feel there's plenty of downside on this stock. And then lastly, let's talk briefly about their cash flow statement. They have negative $17 million operating cash flow. Obviously, that's probably going to change with this new loan, but that money is most likely already has plans to be met with it. Now, can they turn this into a profit? Can they take this loan, reinvent their business again for the second or third time, and start cranking out some real earnings? But for now, if you're a long-term investor, I don't think here at $20 is probably a good place to be buying this stock. Then again, I love to hear your guys' opinion, so make sure you go down to the comments, share your thoughts on Kodak stock with me. I would really love to hear it. Like I said, I will be keeping a close eye on this story. This stock will be a part of my daily watch list for a while now. And I do plan on making some trades, so make sure to check out Trade Alerts Pro. But that's all I got for the video, guys. Thank you as always for watching, and have a great day.